Hi, I'm Carly and welcome back to Farmer Analytics. Are your sheep and goats constantly getting wormy and constantly having issues with parasites, even though you're deworming them regularly? That can be really frustrating as a farmer, as we all know that there's already enough issues to deal with on a farm on a daily basis. But here's the truth. The truth is that deworming is not the only way to control parasites, and it actually isn't always the solution that you need. Today we'll dive into why your animals are getting wormy and how you can break the cycle of that. First off, it's really important to understand that deworming actually does not break the cycle of reinfection. It only treats what's within the animal, and what's on your pastures is still thriving and existing in its own way. If your pasture is full of parasites, these animals are going to step right back onto pasture and get reinfected almost immediately. And basically, once they start grazing again, they'll be right back to square one. So here's a couple of reasons of why this would keep happening and why you would be stuck in a cycle of reinfection. First problem would be that you are overstocking, you have an overstocking density, which means that there's too many animals for that one space. This means that parasites are being shed into that space at an astronomical rate, and you really just can't keep up with the amount of parasites there, the amount of animals that are shedding parasites, and the amount of grazing that's being done on that space. The second common reason is grazing too short. So we always want to think about where those parasites are going to be, and they are usually, I'd say, no higher than 4 inches off the ground. So staying well above that 4-inch mark would be a really safe place to be so that your animals aren't grazing down to the level that those parasites are waiting to be ingested. Another common reason is not rotating pastures. So it's really important to let pastures rest and to let those parasites experience their life cycle and come to the end of their life cycle while animals are not on that space. It lets that pasture kind of clean up over a little bit of time and be a space essentially that animals aren't eating where they poop. Another common reason would be that you're not fecal egg count testing. So fecal egg counts can really give you a great view of the amount of parasites that are being shed onto your pastures, as well as which animals are shedding those high loads. This way you can target the right animals for who needs to be treated or who needs to be moved off of a space. If you're looking for a fecal egg count testing laboratory, check out ours in the description below, Farmer Analytics, for more information about our fecal egg count testing that we offer. The last common reason is that you're using the same dewormer, and this can lead to resistance. Resistant populations of parasites are really hard to treat and can end up taking over your parasite population overall and making it an even bigger problem. So what can we do differently? Well, you can rotate pastures, let one rest while the other one's grazed. The more rotations that you can create, the better. You could also graze taller forage. This keeps the animals above the level that the parasites are waiting for infection, and it keeps your animals healthier. And by grazing taller forage, it doesn't let them graze all the way down to the ground where they're going to get infected. You could also use fecal egg counts as a detection tool to make sure that you're treating and targeting the right animal. A great tip would be to test before and after deworming to make sure that you don't have a resistant population of worms and that your dewormers are effective. Another way to break the cycle is to deworm only high-shedding animals. This means that you're going to leave a population of non-resistant worms, ones that are a refugia population essentially, and you are targeting your treatments. And last but not least, check for resistance. You can do this by using a fecal egg count reduction testing. This is testing before and after treatment and making sure that you don't have a large resistant population of worms on your farm. Breaking the worm cycle really takes focus management, and this starts with testing. We offer fast, reliable fecal egg count testing for you to be able to empower yourself with the knowledge of how your herd is doing, and also the knowledge of if you have resistant populations of worms on your farm, if you have high shedding animals, if you have animals that are really resilient and resistant to worms. And all of this plays a key role in how you can manage parasites and how to basically break that cycle of reinfection. Send us your samples. We'll send you some results, help you interpret those results if you need help with that, and we'll really help you get a handle on how to manage the parasites in your herd or flock. We want to make sure that your deworming strategy is working for you and your animals, and that it's essentially effective. Drop any of your parasite questions in the comments below. I'd love to answer them. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'll see you next time.